Hi guys, welcome back to the Heal Project. This is our first ever ranking list that we've done. It's obviously quite a bit of a trend on YouTube at the minute, isn't it, Pete? Or was maybe a couple of months ago. Maybe we're a bit late to the trend. But we have just had the end of the English Premier League transfer window. So me and Pete thought we'd go through each team, give them a ranking, and see who's basically had the best window. We're not basing any of it on money. We're basing it solely on the fact whether they've improved the squad or made it worse. Simple as that, really.
Yep, start beginning of the list. It's not been bad, to be honest, for me.
You may be wondering why there's no sound. Well, Muggins here forgot to turn on his mic on his recording software. So, yeah, you're going to miss the first few teams, but we'll cover it. So, from present day self, me, to past self, me, take it away. There it is. God's sake. Right, guys. So, here's where we are. I, being the mug I am, forgot to turn on my mic. Pete can hear me, but my recording software could not. So what we've discussed is the fact I will run through them quickly. Got to roll with the punches. It'd be wrong of me to do it again and pretend like it never happened, because do you know what? I'm not like that. So we were sort of discussing Arsenal, of course. They've done well. They've improved the squad. They've bought the right players. Surprised that they let Emilio Martinez go out and go without signing a obvious replacement, but otherwise, I think they've done well. That was what we sort of discussed on that one, wasn't it, Pete?
Yeah. It's got some key defenders in, improved on last year's.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Villa was one we were saying that we did not even slightly see coming. The fact a few weeks ago we were concerned, and we even now I'm still not convinced they are going to stay up. But I still think they're going to have players that are going to got the ability to keep them up. So they've
given themselves a big chance to do it though with the players they've signed.
Yeah, exactly. So they've spent good money, but on good players. They've got rid of deadwood, complete deadwood in some of their signings in terms of Ross McCormack and James Chester.
Lost no key players.
No, loss of no key players. That was the main thing, keeping hold of the likes of Jack Grealish. So for us, they went straight in and smashed it. They were our first ones on. Brighton, they bought in Lallana, Veltman. It was an okay window in terms of ins, but they lost probably players that was probably slightly better in the likes of Moy, mainly Moy really. Moy for Lallana. For me, that's probably a downgrade.
They lost a lot of players as well, didn't they?
They lost a lot of players, but they weren't. I don't think a lot of them were first class. So that's why they sit in our poor window spot. We then went on to Burnley. Bugger all ins. Dale Stevens in. Jeff Hendrick, Joe Hart, Aaron Lennon out on a free. 3-4 years ago, I would have said they would have been getting you nearly 20 mil. And now they're out of free. So they are rightfully, truly screwed themselves. And the final one, before I absolutely realised my stupidity, Chelsea, be based on purely the fact that every single one of their signings, bar maybe 2, are guaranteed first-team players. Yeah. That they've massively improved the squad just on that front. They've got rid of aging players. Even in this window, they've had players like Morata, who me and Pete didn't even know were still on their books. I go in for 50 mil. They've had players going out on loan that maybe they can sell either in January or the summer. So, rightfully so, I think we put them in smashed it, mate, didn't we?
Yeah, so you saying just then, even people like Barkley.
Yeah.
If he performs there, they're going to get money for him.
Exactly. I don't think a lot of those players. I don't think we're going to see them again.
No.
But I've seen they're not going to die. We're not taking them out and assassinating them. But I don't think we'll see them in a Chelsea shirt again.
Chelsea weren't going to make any money for those players for this season. Loan them out. If they do well at these clubs, you'll get a decent little amount of money there.
Well, that's it. You're loaning out Loftus-Cheek and Barkley to another Premiership team down the bottom. They're gonna look good as long as they put their heads down and get on with it. Got a chance, hadn't it?
Yeah.
Right, we'll start again where we were. Crystal Palace. So I was just explaining to Pete, the logic of one of their outs is absolutely perplexed me. Alexander Sorloth absolutely smashed it at Turkey. Yes, didn't play very well for Palace on his run. But why on earth they've replaced him? What, they've decided to keep Benteke and Jordan Ayew, and then sign Batshuayi, who I think is an improvement, by the way, I will add, and not give Sorloth another chance. It's beyond me. Sorloth's obviously gone to be Werner's replacement. Well, playing along Jorgensen at Leipzig, it makes sense. But for me, I don't know why.
For me, keeping Benteke with the wages that he'll be on is absolutely crazy.
Well, the fact is, he's still bound to be on 70, 80 grand a week. The guy, I was going to say, the guy can't score. I don't think the guy can pass, do anything. I think he's awful since he's left Villa.
Yeah, and to keep him in that team when you've got. I can't work Palace out. I can't work them out.
I said a few weeks ago, though, didn't I, that Eberechi Eze. That's definitely not the way you say it, but we're going to go with it. 19.5 mil. Good signing. Nathan Ferguson. All right, probably, for me, wouldn't get you out of danger from the relegation zone. But an okay signing. In terms of this is the hard one. In terms of that squad they had last season,
they've improved it, but
in a weird way, yeah. But I wouldn't say it's been massively improved.
No, I think they could have done a lot more, especially people like Benteke, getting them out. And there's decent strikers that are sitting on the bench of the clubs.
Yeah.
And it's really frustrating.
Yeah. So I think for this one, and it's just gonna help all you guys with OCD out there. I think it's gonna slot straight in that spot, isn't it, Pete?
Yeah, I think it'll do well. It'll go well because they've not damaged it massively. If the only damage they've done is by keeping, I suppose, Deadwood players.
Yeah, keeping and maybe not giving Sorloth another chance, or even convincing him if he. Because I'm gonna go out on the limb and I'm gonna assume that he's smashed it in Turkey, so he wants European football. And you can't blame him. He scored nearly 30 goals, maybe even 30 goals for... I'm not going to say which team it is in Turkey, because I know Turkish fans would get offended if I say the wrong one, especially in Turkey. Isn't that right, Pete?
Right.
Our Turkish Pete. And on to a team that my dear friend Pete loves with all his heart.
I really don't want to do this one.
So, Pete.
Do you know what? For the last 3-4 weeks, I have never, ever praised this team as much as I have done this.
There's a weird one in here in terms of ins.
Yeah.
When the bloody hell did Everton sign Ben Godfrey for 25 mil?
It went through yesterday, but it was done Friday. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Do you remember?
That could be the whole reason why I actually don't think they've done as well as they have now. That's the silly thing. 20. Oh, I suppose no, because we already discussed not based on transfer money.
And the thing is, on our predictions,
yeah,
we said going forward they're absolutely brilliant. They needed to improve on 2 areas.
And they haven't
the
done.
Keeper
well,
and the defender.
They have sort of, because I believe Robin Olsen's a keeper.
Yeah, and we've said they're defenders. Well, Ben Godfrey didn't do that.
He's not the right position, because he's not a centre-back, is he? I'm sure he's one of the full-backs.
Godfrey?
Was he a centre-back?
I think he's a centre-back.
Oh, I don't know. Norwich all rolled into one for me last year.
Hold on, let me
have a look for me, bud.
Let me have a quick look. Ben Godfrey, who plays as a centre back.
I take it back, ladies and gentlemen. Ben Godfrey's a centre back. That's a fantastic sign. No, it's not. It's just. That isn't the signing they needed. For me, personally, I will say personally, I don't think that's the standard of players that they needed to push them to Champions League spots. It's hard to say who they'd get in, but certainly I think the lad from Chelsea, what's his name, that was supposed to be coming to them, Tomori.
Yeah.
On loan, that was a rumoured deal. I think he'd be an improvement.
I think the thing is,
you could even argue Otamendi, something like that.
A lot of teams haven't had Everton's mark because they've come out the blocks. They've come out the blocks steaming at the minute. They know they're spending money, which Everton don't really do.
Well, they spent 62 million on their 3 centre midfielders in terms of James Rodriguez, Decore, and Allen.
And apart from Pickford, they spent quite big money on. Before that, I can't really remember massive money signing.
They had Richarlison for 50 and Sigurdsson for 45.
Yeah.
But I do know what you mean. I do know what you mean in terms of outside of that. In terms of that squad, there isn't. It's not stupid money.
Right. And I think the thing is with Everton, everyone's seen the improvement, and everyone knew they needed a new defence. So I think anyone that was Everton were going in requesting figures for players, people were going to up their price because they knew damn well Everton were they had to do something.
Yeah, completely agree with that, to be fair, mate.
I think any other club, Godfrey would have gone for 15, 20 tops.
Yeah, well, apart from maybe Man U, because, Man U's prices seem to go up no matter.
I think anyone else would have got them a lot cheaper, but...
Yeah. In terms of out, obviously, Baines was inevitably going to retire. I'm surprised we've seen Luke Garbutt go on a free and he never got his chance. Umar Niez is finally gone on a free. Morgan Schneiderlin, Martina. Oh my God, Umar Nias went twice according to TalkSport. Martin Stecklenburg to Ajax, sending him home. Theo Walcott out on loan, which happened yesterday. Sandro Ramirez, who was a surprise one for me that he never ever made it at Everton. He was the youngster coming through at Barca, wasn't he? That they signed. Yeah. And you thought, and he came in, I think he scored straight away on his debut, same as what? Hang on, where's he? Where's Cenk Tosun? Is he still at Everton now?
Yeah, he's got to be.
Or did he join Palace on permanent? He joined Palace. Was that permanent last year? Because again, it's still not outstanding players that Palace have got either way. But anyway, don't really matter. That wasn't even an aim at you. That I was asking you about the Turks. But every single one of those players is gone. For me, is Deadwood.
Yeah. And already with the way it ever started with these new players, people like Rodriguez coming in.
Well, as things stand, James, because he's just James. He's not even Colombian anymore. He's just English James. James has all the hallmarks to go on and become the PFA Player of the Year at the minute.
And for me, Decore had a bad season last season.
He was at an absolutely appalling side with absolutely appalling morale, so it was hard to sort of judge based on that fact.
Linking him up with Richarlison again, like he was 2 years ago,
when they both played well,
has shown how much they enjoy football together for me.
Yeah. So this was another team that we were talking in terms of the mix of best transfer window. So for you, do they still go up into that smashed it category now that we're at the end?
They've improved their squad for me.
I know what Pete's saying this with such heavy art because for some reason he has absolute hatred for Everton. I don't like Everton as a Liverpool fan. Don't get me wrong, but Man U's way worse. Whereas Pete's the other way round.
I think there's only 3 players I've 4 really. I have to count Rooney in an Everton shirt that I've ever liked.
And is James Rodriguez one of them?
No, this is before this season.
I was going to say, if James Rodriguez is one of them, that puts them there, I'm afraid, buddy.
Yeah, I do like Rodriguez.
I want like a middle spot.
Yeah, because I'll let you take control of this one because I just can't put them up to the very top. To be honest, if there was another badge, I most really would.
I'm doing it because based on the fact that I think they've improved their centre midfield better than anybody in. Now, would Europe or even the world be too strong? I'm not convinced it wouldn't. You know, I think that the 3 that they fought for the standard of club that they are, I think is an absolutely. Yeah.
I would never expect those players to go there.
No, and for that reason, that's why I've stuck them there. You know. That's why. The almighty Fulham. So
wow.
They've done the opposite. They didn't. So last time they spent 100-odd million or nearly 200-odd million or whatever it was to stay in the Premiership. This year they've gone up and they've got Scott Parker as the manager and they've gone, do you know what? We'll spend nothing. Absolutely nothing. I say that they spent at least 8 mil.
Yeah.
But even then, that is absolute peanuts. Based on the undisclosed ones, they've spent more than Brighton did. So, but Anthony Robinson for a 2 mil player, that's a good signing. Obviously, Wigan have got their problems.
Yeah, they've got there at the right time.
Yeah, I think they're a club waiting for it to be picked. Anthony Knockhart, I've said before on our channel, he's nowhere near a Premiership standard player.
No.
He is one of the great. Do not get me wrong. He's one of the greatest ever Championship players, ever. He's super. He's absolutely.
You get some players that can't do that step up.
No, you get those players that have always got that one league that they can play in. Oh, froze. There we are. You always get that one player that play in one league and that's it, or even one country and that's it. But Knockhart is that second division of England for some reason. That is the only league he can play in. He might prove me wrong this year, but I think he's probably too old for that this year, to be honest with you.
I was shocked to see him go to anyone, especially another Premier League team.
They spent 6 mil on a player that was there last season. I've since found this out. I didn't really know about Fulham in the Championship. So that's 6 mil on Harrison Reed. He was already there last year. So they've essentially made a loan a permanent in terms of that. They've also brought in Lamina with him. And for me, that's a good improvement on their midfield. As long as they can get his confidence back. Let's not forget, he's ex Juventus. Like, you can't sniff at that. He's ex Juventus and was starting for them a fair bit. He's Gabon's second best player. What else? What else they bought him? So they bought in Areola.
That could be a key thing for me.
Well, I would say yes, and I thought that, but since I've seen him play, he looks just as good as Adrian. Because it's hard to say because he's got nothing in front of him.
Yeah.
Kenny Tete from Lyon. Ola Aina, the former Chelsea player. Coming on a loan from Torino, according to this. Adamola Lukman from Leipzig, a former Everton player. Loftus-Cheek. Tosin. Hey, Pete, do you want to have a go at that second name?
No.
Adebayo. Nailed it. In one. From Man City on undisclosed. For me, there's still no standout signings there.
No. And I think the thing that's frustrating, Fulham should have been looking at these players that wouldn't be getting into starting squads. These youngsters that can maybe get loan out, could get a loan in, of people stepping up to like the big 5, 6, 7 teams. You've got a City player in there, Chelsea loan, but there's a lot of youngsters sitting there trying to get through to a squad, and they would do well in a Fulham squad like that for me.
Yeah, it's a bit worrying when you look at the squad and their standout signing is a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
For a team that's coming up to the Prem, you don't want that being your standout position. You need a midfielder, striker, or even defender.
Don't forget, this is a team that before this transfer window closed, bookies were apparently paying out on relegation already.
I can't even say I'm shocked. I would still say that now, to be fair.
Yeah, no, but then you would, hearing that as a club, you would be like, right, let's go out and let's get people in. If people paying out for relegation already, let's do something. And people like Villa have done that.
Yeah,
and they've got some players in.
Fulham have done one good thing. One good thing this transfer window for me.
What?
They've kept Mitrovic. Mitrovic is a player that could have easily gone off. I don't know, spitballing. Let's say he could have gone off and joined Bayer Leverkusen.
Yeah.
Top goal scorer in the Championship. He doesn't go unrecognised. He's their current captain. Again, I think that's possibly part of their problem. He's not really a leader type. I know he's buckled down since his Newcastle days, and he does drag them through the mud massively as there. But I think that is just sheerly the fact he is by far a better standard than the rest of that squad.
I think the thing that shocked me, and I think I might be wrong, but he's been playing this season.
Yeah.
The thing that I couldn't get was opening down the season, and I was excited to watch Mitrovic against Arsenal. Mitrovic was on the bench.
Yeah, I don't know why that was, but he went and played against Leeds, and you'd think a team that like Leeds that have played, I think they played them 3 times in the end last season, with cup competition as well. I'm sure that was what they said, but they couldn't handle him.
No,
every ball in the box was Mitrovic, or Mitrovic gave away a foul because he was causing such problems for the defenders.
This is the thing I can't work out for them, because that guy would be the first name on the team sheet every single time.
It could have been there was an injury, but he's certainly been playing since, and he's their captain.
Yeah.
So he could have had a knock.
He could have gone. Yeah, he definitely could have gone. There would have been teams above them.
But then again, if that's Scott Parker trying to play a sensible head against Arsenal, is Mitrovic the man you need from the first minute of the match to play against Arsenal? Probably not. You're not going to see a lot of the ball. He's not going to do a ridiculous amount of running. You're going to want probably a bit more of a livelier player up front for the counter. So if it was could well have been just a tactical decision, to be honest with you. Stick him on for the last 40 minutes and cause some problems for their centre backs.
They needed to improve their midfield to get that supply to Mitrovic massively.
And I don't think it's enough.
No.
So again, the loans. There's just loans have been nothing really. Alfie Mawson, Steven Sessegnon to Bristol City. Bristol City have had a good start again, but there's nothing to write home about really. They're probably Championship standard players.
Yeah.
So where would you put them then, mate? Where would you put them?
They've not really damaged themselves too much, loaning these players out.
Yeah.
For me, it's a hard either one to forget or a poor window for me. They've not really damaged themselves. They've got a couple of people in.
Yeah, I think basically based on the fact that they've brought in 3 players, for me, 4 players, I'd argue.
It could make a difference.
In terms of just straight off their loans. Their 4 of their loans are fantastic in my eyes. As long as you can get them playing right. That's Lamina, Areola, Lookman and Loftus-Cheek. Even Aina wouldn't do a bad job on his day. He obviously, there was enough that Torino signed him. I assume that's right. And he did go to Torino at some point. But yeah, a forgettable window for me.
Yeah.
So the new boys, the champions, they're back. Not everybody likes them. Leeds. Helder Costa for 16 mil. A bunch of names that I don't know the names of. Jack Harrison on loan again. Sam Greenwood from Arsenal. I don't know if I need to censor this name when I say it, but we're going to pronounce it Koch for the sake of YouTube. It's definitely not the way to say it. I'm sure you're supposed to say it the way it looks. So, but I'm going to call him Koch for the sake of this. But from Diego Llorente, former Real Madrid player.
And a big one yesterday.
Rafinha?
Yeah.
But Rodrigo, for me, is the big one. They bought in, well, he's obviously is a big one, 26 mil, that's nothing to sniff at. But 26 mil for a Spanish international. Not even like ex-Spain, current Spain.
And Castiga as well. A player that's played in the Premier League knows exactly what it's about as well.
Costiga, did you say? You did it again.
Costa.
You call him, so you've gone from Postiga. I'm sure you just called him Costiga, or did you call him Postiga again?
Yeah, I did.
Held a Postiga, throwing it back. But yeah, so he did an okay job at Wolves, but I'm still not convinced. I'm still sort of on the fence that maybe he's not quite Prem standard. But I still think he'll do a good job for them this season because I don't think they're going to be in trouble of relegation. So in terms of that, yeah, he's an improvement. In terms of outs, they've not had a single one out permanently. They've had only loans out. They've bought players in. So you've got to argue the fact that they've massively improved their squad depth.
Yeah.
There's no way around that. Just the sheer number that they bought in. Obviously 26 mil for Rodrigo. Funnily enough, because that was so long ago since they were in the Prem. That is their record signing. Quite funny that. You think record signing for any Premiership team, 26 mil, you're like, oh, it's quite low. But yeah, because it's been so long. So, for me, again, I don't think they've smashed it. I don't think they needed to.
No, I think they've done what they needed to. They've improved it, which was a bit of a challenge, to be honest, because they've done really, really well last year.
Yeah, there's a weird one for me. They bought in Rodrigo. Yeah. For me, the position, his best position is striker. And yet Patrick Bamford's still in the side. Yeah, all right, Leeds fans, calm down. Patrick Bamford's smashing it. But at the start of the window, if you said as a Leeds fan, Patrick Bamford is your starting striker in the Premier League, you'd go 2-1. Or you'd go, did Bielsa leave?
Yeah.
Because surely they'd be able to get a standard of a player. I even heard like people linking with him, papers linking blimmin' Edison Cavani with them. And that would have actually made sense. Obviously with Bielsa, South American, huge legend in the South American game. Actually, you probably could have seen it happening. The fact that they've gone with Bamford as staying as starter,
and
it's interesting. You know, it's interesting.
It shows how well they've done with their squad because they've stepped up to the Premier League and they're playing some of the most exciting football. I think out of all the teams, I've watched Leeds. I've liked watching Leeds the most, to be honest. They're playing exciting football there as well.
Yeah, the thing they've done well is that they've not tried to adapt to the Premier League. They've
played league way.
They've just played the way that they know, and I think for that they're doing well. But in terms of the window, I wouldn't say I don't think they've smashed it. I think they're definitely improved.
Yeah, they've got to take their second spot.
But you've got to be proud of that as a Leeds fan. Yeah. They've come up and they've bought right. Having said this, obviously it's all subject to come the end of the season, and we can always react to this video that you're watching now. And hey, you never know, we might be reacting to this video that we're watching now, and then in 3 years' time we might be reacting, and it could be.
Yeah.
But Fulham spent massive money last time they were up, and they probably would have ended up in the smashed column.
They would have.
And because they bought players like Jean-Michel Seri, who's obviously flopped. So, I'm sorry, Leeds, Villa, Everton, Chelsea, Arsenal fans. These might not stay this way forever. They may turn out to be poor for you.
We could have a few right shackles.
I know we're not talking in terms of transfer, but based on the players they've signed, would you say Leicester have spent more money than they should have done?
Definitely.
Yeah, it's a weird one. So, who has been Chilwell's replacing it? Is it that Castagna? Castan? I think it is, isn't it?
I think it is. Let's have a look. Yep.
So let's argue the fact. Is Chilwell better than Castang, in your opinion?
Chilwell is much better.
So that's a bad mark for Leicester straight off the bat. Leicester haven't lost a centre midfielder. I'm fairly sure that's what Fofana is. And Under, I think I recognise him. Is he a striker? He sounds like a striker.
So Fofana,
Right winger is Under. And Fofana is a what?
Defender.
He's a defender. Sorry, my bad, everybody.
Centre back.
Okay. So I'm fairly sure I'm just mixing him up with another Fofana.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Chilwell's the one for more than on this. I know there's some replacement, but I know they might not have much choice because Chilwell would have wanted that move and would have tried to push that move through more than likely.
But I'm just, to be honest with you, I don't think they've had a poor window. So for me, this one is. I forgot Leicester were even at the league at times. So we'll make this one quick, shall we?
Yep.
They haven't done badly. They haven't really made their team worse.
They've improved it.
It's forgettable. So, this is going to be the controversial one. It's our team. Mine and Pete's team. It'd be handy if we had somebody that wasn't maybe a Liverpool fan with this one, but me and Pete have just tried to get this out the next day, and hopefully you'll see this on the Wednesday. So, 3 signings in. Diego Jota, Thiago Alcantara, and Costas, who had a rather rude torrent of abuse from James Milner when he didn't pay the pass down the wing on his friendly debut.
You learn the hard way with Milner.
He does. He even said that. You will learn. So we've spent 76.7 mil. Diego Jota, I think, is an improvement. If we consider the fact, players that went out just based on that fact, Adam Lallana is probably the only real one near that. So let's just say a straight one. Well, no, because Adam Lallana would be more of a replacement for... Thiago would be more of a replacement for Adam Lallana. Okay, so let's say Diego Jota is a replacement for Ryan Brewster. Because Jota will inevitably play up front at times this season.
The thing is,
sorry, mate. Thiago's a replacement for Lallana.
Yeah.
And then realistically, let's just go off the fact that I know that they're not quite the same position. They're the other side, but Costas is a replacement for Hoover. Yeah, that one.
But saying that, we also released people like Klein and that. We needed cover at the back.
Yeah, but again, knowing our club like we do, we've got Williams. Do we need Klein? I'd say no. So I think it's about bringing the young thing. I would have probably backed myself to the hill with that if we hadn't have let Hoover go for 9 mil, because I think we probably could have done with keeping him.
Yeah.
Time will tell. Obviously we've let Lovren go at last. I think he's been desperate to make a move and carry on as he's the best centre back in the world. As he says,
the self-proclaimed best defender in the world.
Yeah, it's about time we let him go to a bigger club.
Yeah.
Zenit St. Petersburg. Because the best players in the world go for 10.9 mil, don't they?
I think we've been clever in this one, I think.
Yeah.
We were very lucky.
Deal's a good one.
We were very lucky last.
Sorry, mate. Sorry, you carry on.
Brewster. So we were really lucky last year.
Yeah.
With Mane and Salah.
Yeah.
They played a lot last year, a hell of a lot. And what worried me is if you took one of those out, there was a big gap there. And I know there was talk about Sarr going to Liverpool. Done all right at Watford last year. I know a lot of teams are looking around him. But when we got Jota for a bit less than what we'd best pay for Sarr, I was like, I was quite excited about this.
Yeah, and I think in terms of that's a very good window. Obviously, we can't do it based on necessarily vote on it based on players that we nearly got and we actually improved. But
Thiago It's great sign.
And it's hard not to say it based on transfer value when it comes to Thiago. It won't come into the actual thing because I think if you buy Thiago Alcantara for 20 million, I think he's actually would create a new level above Smashed It.
Yeah, that's.
But that is a ridiculously good value signing, I think, in my opinion.
Even you put him in a bracket of Jota's cost 45.
Yeah, and we signed Thiago for 20. Quite kind of crazy. Players we've let go again. Deadwood, bar maybe the exception of Brewster. I think that's probably a fair way to say.
I think for Brewster he had to.
Well, and maybe Hoover.
Yeah, I really like him for Brewster. It really got me because I like him as a player. But it's one of those you've got to look at Liverpool's front three and go, would it be fair to keep him there?
Yeah, well, this is the thing. They've spent 23 mil. They've sold him for 23 mil. He might go to Sheffield United, and he could flop. He's not. He's not going to. I watched him play at Swansea last year, and he's bloody superb.
But they've also been clever and put a buyback clause in the contract.
That's the main thing. It's essentially a
long-term loan deal.
It's a long-term loan, although I think the buyback clause has to happen in the next 3 seasons. I'm sure I read that.
But it was still, what was it, 40, 45, I think it was something like that.
For me, this is one of those ones that I think English football needs to catch up on. It's something that's happened in Germany, Spain and Italy for absolute years. Getting on for decades. So Barcelona and Real Madrid in particular, are superb at the buyback clause. So I don't know if you've ever done a Football Manager career. I know it's obviously not exact to real life, but I don't know if you've ever done a Football Manager career with Barca or Real Madrid. But there's always on the clause section a chance to buy back a player.
Yeah.
And as the years have gone on, they've got more and more and more and more, and you can buy players for less and less money than what you should be able to, because that's the value that Real Madrid put in or Barca put into their contracts. And Brewster, as long as we're not paying, we haven't got a buyback price of silly money, I think that's a good deal.
Yeah, I'm sure it's something like 40, 45.
And you know what? If he goes off and he hits, let's say, Harry Kane level, because he's coming through at the same age as Harry Kane did, then I think for that price, I think that's a cracking deal. Yeah. Personally.
Because you look, in 3 years' time, that front three could change a hell of a lot.
Yeah. But in terms of in the whole window, where would we go, mate? Because we're just going to babble about our own team otherwise for a while, and nobody wants to hear that. We do that enough with Liverpool. Is it? I don't think it's there.
No, it's definitely not there. It's definitely not there.
I think just based on the fact that we've managed to sign one of the best centre midfielders in the world, it puts it there.
Yeah.
And it's better. He's arguably going to be a better centre mid than what we have.
I think we've improved our squad a bit.
Well, that is the thing. And signing Thiago, I don't think is forgettable.
No. And even Jota, we've improved that level. Right, this is unfair because we've improved our backup three.
Yeah, but that is still improving the squad. When I wrote out the things, I did intend it to be improve the squad rather than the starting 11. So
we've definitely done.
Yeah, and I think they've got to go there.
I think even people we've let go, Lallana and Lovren.
Well, you can't say that you cannot put it in a forgettable window when you let a player of Dejan Lovren's standard go. So basically, it's either got to be there or it's got to be there. In poor window, you can say it's only one of the two.
It's improved the squad.
Right. The other worrying team for us in the league, I guess. Although at the minute Everton are smashing it so Villa. Man City. Decent money spent by them. 2 very, very big money signings of centre-backs.
Yeah.
A position that I said that they have to improve based on our end of season podcast, which is also on our channel. I may have mentioned there's been things on here, but you never know. I think that was in a bit when I didn't have my mic on. So,
it was.
So Diaz,
For me-
Aki are both massive improvements. And do you know what, Pete? I don't know if you know very much about Portuguese football.
Not really.
Ruben Diaz was their, for years, was their main on-pitch leader. So Benfica have always had a good job in the last few years that their goalkeeper's always been quite a leader on the pitch. And Diaz may have even been captain, but Portuguese football, it may not have been. Portuguese football has this habit of just making the seasoned veteran the captain. So it may not have been him. It may have been the older boy that also played centre back. But Diaz was the younger one, the one that was going to always come through and replace their main guy. And for the life of me, I cannot remember his name, and it's going to do my absolute head in. Somebody tell me in the comments who Benfica, who the guy is I'm thinking of. I'm not even sure if he's Portuguese or Brazilian. But Diaz, 62 million. I think it's going to be a good signing, you know.
And even Aki.
Yeah.
He was a great player at Bournemouth. And we knew he was going to go to a big club.
Well, the thing is, Nathan Aki is a player I think will always do better at a bigger club, because Nathan Aki isn't a standout defensive player in my opinion. He's good on the ball.
Yeah.
He's a good ball playing defender, and he's got to be one of the best in the Premier League now. So he isn't going to do well at a team like Bournemouth, or even if he'd been signed, let's just say, for example, one of the new boys, let's say Leeds.
Yeah. He needs to go to a big club.
For the majority of the games, he has to have a lot of the ball, even as a centre-back, because he's definitely more of a Roman centre-back. So Man City is a good fit for him. I think, obviously, he's a good fit for Man City. Wait, hold up. Something ain't right. You know I said about Everton, who they should have signed? I've just seen in the outgoings that I've completely missed.
Hold on.
In the outgoings that Everton should have signed as a centre-back, and I even mentioned his name earlier.
Hold on. What are you looking at?
Nicholas Otamendi's gone.
Yep.
I hadn't realised that. So that's an interesting one. So so essentially, if that is right, and he has gone to Benfica, because there's been quite a lot wrong with this article so far. It hasn't been a very good article. Sorry, TalkSport. Please sponsor us.
Let me just have a quick check of this.
So in terms of that, if that is right, that's less than 50 million for Ruben Diaz.
Have a quick check.
Yeah.
Three hours ago, fans rage and Nicholas Otamendi's embarrassing Benfica debut.
So
he gave away 2 goals and a penalty.
Lol. So, based on that fact, I think, yes, they've let Leroy Sané go, but I don't know if you've seen, he's gone to Bayern Munich and he's got injured again.
Yeah.
So they've sold a cropped player for 54. Yeah, for me, I'm still disappointed that David Silva didn't retire at Man City personally. The same, I'm a bit disappointed Yaya didn't retire, and Aguero's not going to retire at Man City. Nor the company. They're all the ones that should have retired of the Man City era. But
yeah,
for me, this is a team that this is very, very close to smashed it. I can't work out whether it's smashed it or they've just improved it.
I think they've improved it. But mind you, it's one of those at City, you look at their squad, there's not many players you could bring in to smash that squad.
Well, I'm going to just sit them there for the time being. But based on this fact, let's just consider something. Ferran Torres, a winger from Valencia, who was arguably one of the best players in La Liga. Is replaced a player that has gone to Bayern Munich for, all right, we weren't going to say about money, but I think you sort of have to based on it, just on this fact, that he's gone to Bayern Munich and got injured again.
He's gone for more than double.
And gone more than double. you've got rid of him and got a player that can play in his position and will be able to do a better job, in my opinion, within 2 seasons. So for me, as much as it'd kill me, I would have to put them above Arsenal, Leeds and Liverpool.
They have done well.
Which for me puts them into smashed it. And that's hurt me. That's really hurt me. But I think they've done really well. And obviously, they had Angelino go out on loan as well. I don't think we'll ever see him play for Man City, even though he's very, very good left back. So, the next one.
More, I think.
I'm going to go out on a limb. Based on their outgoing, their window, their business before transfer deadline day.
Yep.
They were there. They had truly screwed themselves. For a team that has all the money. All right, maybe you could argue poor window sort of on that edge.
Because
they had Van der Beek. Yeah. So, this is where you've just got to work out whether this is strong enough. Is Edison Cavani good enough and Telles good enough to put them there or even there?
Right, let me ask you then. Would those players compared to Lingard, Rashford, Martial and Greenwood, would those get straight into your team?
Well, the thing is, so obviously the Gallo deal, I assume they've just carried on that deal, by the way.
Yeah.
So Van den Beek is the guaranteed second centre mid spot for me.
Yeah.
So you've got Fernandez is first, and I don't even get the nearly swore there. I don't want to be doing more editing than I need to.
Yeah.
I don't get the hype and the hate of him being Fernandez. It's ridiculous. He's still undoubtedly one of the best technical players in the league, and I think he should be showed a bit more respect. And that's coming from a Liverpool fan.
I think he's at the minute Man United's greatest player for me.
At the minute in their current squad, for sure.
Yeah, and the thing is, he could go down as being a bit of a Man United legend for me, to watch.
He will go down if it carries on. He'll go down as one of the most loved Man U players. It is a massive shame in terms of for Man U fans, that they can't see him live, because I think he would be already sort of God status, especially the fact that they've had to deal with Pogba for the last few years.
The thing is, you watch him play, and he changed that whole team.
And then
the weekend, him coming off, and it showed you the difference in that team.
Yeah, and for me, that adding Van der Beek to that is only going to help him, which means it's only going to help their squad. Alex Telles is better than Luke Shaw.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's harsh to say that he's better than Williams. Is it Williams? Is he also Williams at Man U at their left back? Brandon Williams is that? And we've got Nico Williams. Apologies, Man U fans. It's not. But I think it's Brandon Williams plays left back for Man U. Nico Williams plays right back for Liverpool. It'd be harsh to compare him. But Telles, again, we're talking not chain transfers, but Telles has gone from Porto for the same fee that Otamendi's gone to Benfica. Funny that. But I think that's an improvement. So they've definitely improved it on terms of that. Cavani, whether he gets into your front three or not, is better than what they've got behind that.
Massively.
Based on the fact that they didn't go and get... So I've put them up to improve for now, Pete. Based on the fact that they didn't go out and get a world's... They're Man U. They've got Champions League. They didn't go out and get a world-class starting player, in my opinion. Van der Beek is very close to it.
Yeah, I think the thing that frustrated me, we got Man United. You know they're not short of money. You could have gone out there and got Sancho, who wanted to go. It seems wanted to go Man United. All you had to do was meet that target, that figure,
which I believe was 89 mil.
Well, I can't remember what it was. I know they got very close to it, but they kept on. They kept on going in with lower offers.
But let's
Look,
consider the fact that Daniel James would have been for, let's say, they were going to sell Daniel James in return. 20 mil?
You could have got out.
20
You could
mil
have
to
gone and
Villa,
got.
something like that.
Yeah. You could have gone and got one of the best English youngsters. At the minute, for me, it's a little bit frustrating because I don't think we've seen his full potential in England yet. But
he's the absolute nuts at Dortmund.
Yeah, wearing that Dortmund kit, it shows you they could have had him, and all they had to do was meet that figure. That's the only thing that let Man United down for me this transfer window. Otherwise, they would have smashed it.
Yeah, if I think if Sancho had gone, that would have been enough for me to push them to smash it. And seeing Everton, Man City, and Man U top of the table in smashed it, I would have cried. So I'm sort of glad that they didn't, because that would have really hurt me.
The only other thing that I think as well is their defences look really ropey, and to let Chris Smalling go,
I think he would have certainly done a good job to stay. But obviously an England fan,
yeah,
Chris Smalling for me should be England starting number 1 centre back. Not Harry Maguire, not Michael Keane.
I was about to say,
no Joe Gomez.
It frustrates me seeing Harry Maguire wearing that captain's armband and Chris Smalling just didn't seem to fit for some reason. So I think he's a great player.
Chris Smalling is the most informed English centre back at the minute. Maybe in terms of the ones that should be playing for the England squad anyway. Obviously, I'm sure there's more informed players lower leagues in terms of their own ability.
Yeah.
So a team that we were saying early on of one of the teams of the window. For me, now that we're now at this point, it's dropped, hasn't it?
Yeah, before it would have been very close to smashing it with another 1 or 2, because they got some great bargains. Those 2 players,
if you just go Hendrick, Fraser, Wilson, that's 20 million for the 3 of them.
But now,
what?
That's all they seem to have done. But the thing is, for me, they've improved their squad still.
They've improved their squad, but I think that's as good as it's going to get.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a forgettable window because, this is going to be a bold statement. I will clarify a little bit before I go really bold. If Callum Wilson stays fit, he will be their greatest number 9 since Alan Shearer. I can't think of many better. Can you? That's what you're thinking, isn't it? Papa Cisse, Demba Ba. They're really the only 2 that even come into my head. Funny that. Been so many years. And is he still their record transfer? No, it's Owen. It's Owen now, isn't it? It's their record transfer signing. Forgot about it.
So looking over this squad,
I think that's just that. I think there's nothing more. Yeah. Improve the squad, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Moving on to Sheffield United, mate.
Go for it.
So, for me, this one doesn't appear on this list. It's a hard one. It doesn't appear on the list because they didn't do anything. They just didn't get him back on loan in Dean Henderson. For me, you've got to consider the fact that what they had last season. So based on last season, they had Dean Henderson. Is Aaron Ramsdale or Wes Foderingham even near Henderson's level?
No.
I don't think so.
But I don't think it was. I think they would have done everything they could to get Henderson. Henderson knew this was his season to fight for that spot.
Oh yeah. Oh, do not get me wrong. The Man U spot is there for the taking.
And I feel bad for them because they know.
It just depends how much time they're going to give De Gea before they give Henderson a chance.
And I think this is where I feel bad. This is where I feel bad for Sheffield United, because I guarantee they would have done everything they could to keep him, because that would have really, really improved their squad massively.
Mm-hmm.
There was just no way of doing it. And you think the money that he would have cost for anyone to be as good as him is out of the league?
Yeah, that's the thing, and of course you've got the added. You're always going to have the added inflation of being English.
Yeah,
It's just one of them things. It's just ridiculous.
I don't think they've done bad. What they
Again,
got,
it's going to be one that's going to fall into the category. The same one that's going to think it's going to improve the squad, because just the signings of Ampadu I think could be really good. The Burke for Caleb Robinson swap for me is a bit of a nah. It doesn't really matter. I don't think it's going to play a lot into the season. Burke will just come in and I think will be about. But I think the Brewster deal might be. I think the Brewster deal is enough to push them up. You know.
that could be massive. We was looking for standout players at Sheffield United, and
Well, we said this is simply the fact of why we think Chrissy Wilde has done such a good job.
yeah, and we were saying now they've got what could be within a season or two a fully fledged recognised number 9.
I think so. It's just
they've got a goal scorer, like a full goal scorer now.
They just got to get the service to him now.
Yeah.
But well done, Sheffield United. I think you've obviously had a cracking season last year, and you've improved. Wasn't going to be easy to do, but you have managed it. So Southampton in. We've ended up with, for me, nothing that tickles my fancy.
No.
I like the Walcott deal, but that was a loan, and that's for nostalgic things. Obviously, he's going home. I can see that being a permanent. Going out, Højbjerg's the big hitter for them.
Yeah. It's
for me. I've got a category I've got in mind for this one. You know, where would you place this?
Personally, it's a bit of a poor window for me.
And that is exactly where I had them, because of the fact that you've got Højbjerg's gone. Arguably, Cedric Soares has gone as well, who was obviously at loan at Arsenal last year, but before that was their captain at one point, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Cedric. So for me, that's a poor signing, a poor window for them for sure.
Yeah, even Walcott, I can't change. It's not somewhere they needed to improve at all.
He's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna improve.
He's not gonna go in and change it.
Nah.
And you think
I've just seen something for the next team.
Swapped Højbjerg for Kyle Walker-Peters, really?
Yeah, they are different positions, obviously, but yeah, it's a weird one. So Tottenham on the they've had a good window, but there's one for me that just made me chuckle. The one I laughed about. Benfica now have Jan Vertonghen and Otamendi as their 2 centre backs. I've just spotted that. That's quite funny.
This is going to be horrible because
I've got a theory to this, and you've got to see. I want you to see if you agree with this. But let's hear what you know. You say what you think first.
You've put Gareth Bale in any side in that at the minute, and for me, that would improve any team there.
Whether he plays 20 games a season, whether he plays 30.
Yeah, you've put Gareth Bale in any squad there, and you've improved that. Another one, Højbjerg, already, he was a stand-up player for me last year. You've got Joe Hart for free. Well, he might not play, but I'll tell you what, he's a damn good goalkeeper to have.
Well, he's got to be the strongest third choice back. He's got to be the strongest third choice keeper in the league now.
And you've got Matt Duckett.
Yeah. Then you of course got Reguilon.
Yeah.
Who's an obvious signing. Although Danny Rose never actually left in the end, I say. Interesting. I don't think we'll see him fighting back into his place. I think Mourinho's made it very clear he doesn't really rate him. But yeah, Vinicius I think could be a good little loan. But for me, so where would you put them first, Pete? And then I'll argue the case or whether.
With that, you've definitely improved your squad. Definitely. And I tell you what, you put someone like Bale in there, getting Bale on loan, that would be the biggest boost. Because I actually predicted something to have the worst season.
Out of the big six, yeah.
Yeah,
So
the big six.
so did I. I think one of us may. I think maybe even I didn't even put them in Europa League spots. You know.
And to have Gareth Bale go back there, and knowing that one man can change that squad,
Yeah.
it's hard not to say they smashed it for me.
Well, this is it. So smashed it is where I put them based on one fact, and it's not the Bale fact. It is sort of. Where were Bale and Reguilon going? Reguilon going before Tottenham.
Man United.
You've taken away a player or two players that would have been
Massively in that squad.
well, they would have been guaranteed starting players from a rival team, and you've robbed it from under their nose for whatever reason. Man U didn't pull the trigger early enough. They didn't. Well, obviously didn't want to get those deals across the line. Wood was doing an absolute shocking job, really. Even though they has managed to improve it, they should have been smashed it.
And the thing is,
so for me, that's the reason why I'd put them up there.
If you can keep Kane and Son fit as well, especially a few other players, they could have easily taken that spot from Man United with those extra players.
I completely agree. I completely agree, and that is, I think that's a very fair reason for us to put them to smashed it. Who else we had in terms of outs as well, though, whilst we're on it? So Wanyama's gone, so dead weight. Sessegnon finally got a loan out. Troy Parrott's got another loan.
I know a lot of Tottenham fans were kicking up about Oliver Skipp going out on loan because he's someone a youngster that the fans really, really like. Wouldn't mind seeing how he does in the Championships.
Yeah, I think getting him out on loan, I think is probably the right deal in my opinion. But I'm not a Tottenham fan, so I can't necessarily give the true opinion of they're obviously their fans. On to West Brom. So this is a team that I was moaning about that they haven't. They seem to have made permanent deals with players they had on loan last season.
Yeah.
Which you can argue is smart business. But this is also a team that finished runners-up in the Championship. So signing players on a permanence to improve it's not improving the squad, and so are we saying that the second best team in the Championship is enough to avoid relegation? I'm not convinced.
No. When you've got a team like Leeds and Fulham that have gone out and they've made, even Fulham, they've not damaged them, but they've made a few signings still.
Yeah.
Hard.
It's a hard one. That Grady Diagne, he smashed it when they played against Everton, even though they lost. That was a cracking game. Was that first game of the season, I think, wasn't it? I think you and me were sat texting each other, actually.
It was, yeah.
And West Brom looked good, but I don't think this what that window's enough to keep them in the league, you know?
No.
And that's a real concern.
This is what I'm saying. This is the teams like Fulham. There's a lot of youngsters in those top 6, 7 teams that are sitting there begging for first team football.
And would have improved what they've got for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. So for me, I don't think
they've damaged it.
Yeah, you can't say that they've gone worse if they've signed players that were there last season. If anything, that's made them better. But on paper, to a West Brom fan,
it's exactly the same.
Yeah, which is why I would put it in a forgettable window.
Yeah.
Fair.
Even that. So I was worried that you were going to try and give him extra points for Kane Wilson.
Well, if anything, that'd knock him down. You know, it's a poor window, letting Kane Wilson go out to the almighty Forest Green. So we're on to West Ham.
Yeah.
So they've raided Slavia Prague. They've not done a lot else, bar letting Diangana go. And again, Sukic was there last season. It's hard. Had West Ham not had quite a good start to the season, I would have put them truly screwed.
Wasn't there another name missing off their release list?
Well, they've let Roberto go, so that's a good start. But
Yeah.
Carlos Sanchez was released, and I've heard a few West Hams that were worried that if they hadn't signed anybody because they were lacking midfielders, they were worried that they were going to give Carlos Sanchez another deal. And you can't blame them for being worried about that.
The only I'm just going to check because I'm sure. Yeah, it's true. How Jack Wilshere's got no club.
Yes, I've seen that somewhere. Someone mentioned.
They had
a
moved
friend.
for termination.
Yeah, well, a friend of mine through the wrestling group, not the one you're thinking of, is an Arsenal fan, and he's been saying that why have Arsenal just offered him a deal? A pay as you play, a paid as you play deal, because even at Arsenal you could still offer him. Let's be fair. What's his wages? 60 grand a week, 100 grand a week, somewhere between that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could offer him that per game.
Because
if he makes it, then that's what he's on a week. If he doesn't, well, he doesn't need the extra money, but he's guaranteed Premier League team. I don't know where the clubs will be able to. I don't think he'll be able to go anywhere now during this window, apart from abroad. It's depending on what other windows are still open.
Now he's a free agent.
For me, this is time. He's crocked. He's what? Must be 30 now?
Jack Wilshere?
Yeah.
He's 28.
Bloody hell.
Because
been around
he
forever.
was even... the only reason I found this out, because there was a tweet went out to, I think it was Hitchin Town.
Right.
And they tweeted him, Jack, if you're looking for a club to keep... If you're looking for a club to keep fit while you haven't got a team, let us know. We're on the market for a centre midfielder. And he actually joking around, I think, hopefully. He tweeted back, what time do you want me for training?
To be honest, if that, I really hope he's not joking, because that would be such a good mentality to go with. Because you know yourself you're crocked at that point.
Hitchin Town, he was like, what time do you want me for training? I don't want to be late on the first day.
That would be superb. But I think this is time. This is time to go off and fight America and see what happens. Obviously, this is the problem. He won't be able to move at the minute because of COVID.
Yeah.
But when he can, I could see a linking up with maybe even not even in the MLS, but maybe a little link up with Drogba or even Landon Donovan in the second division, in their second tier of. Well, then their other tier of... There's not a second tier, is it? It's like... They have like two leagues. The MLS and the ALS or whatever it's called. I think it'd be a good time to do it. Joe Cole did it at the end of his career to try and help with injuries. And it prolonged Joe Cole's career, to be fair. Came back and played for Everton, for Coventry for a bit. So...
What do you think of Stanley?
I don't think they're there because they haven't lost anybody big.
No.
Which means they've
got the only thing I would say is they've lost a bit of depth, which they didn't have the greatest of anyway.
Well, the thing is, Palace, Fulham, Leicester, West Brom all signed somebody that I think that will improve their squad. Admittedly, West Brom is their players they had on loan. Yeah. Sukat was only one player that they had on loan.
I would stick with poor window.
Yeah, I don't think it's enough to put them up to a forgettable window.
No.
So then we'll move on to Wolves.
Last ones.
A lot of jokes going about practically every player of this size being Portuguese. Yeah, I can see 3 players that aren't. Good effort, Wolves. They've had... They're okay signings come in, you see. Semedo's maybe the one that's actually made it a decent window for me, looking at it.
Yeah.
But in terms of outgoings, it's actually a bit worrying.
You've lost some key players for Wolves.
Like, Jota is better than anything that they've bought in. Costa's a concern because he would have done a job. Doherty, you could argue Semedo's going to be better.
Yeah.
But the thing that Semedo will not bring you is what Doherty does in terms of being a club man.
Yeah.
Being that leader. So in terms for me, I think that's maybe a mistake in letting him go. Obviously, I think he must have wanted to go based on the fact that it was only 14 mil.
Yeah.
Even though he's a well-known, a well-documented Arsenal fan, isn't he? And there was even a tweet saying something offensive about Tottenham a few years ago.
That got removed straight away.
He had to delete it, didn't he? And he came out and he openly admitted he deleted it and was trying to hide the fact that it happened.
This is the thing for me. It was always going to be hopeless.
Yeah.
The thing is, as well, Fabio Silva's a new record for Wolves.
Yeah. But it's you've spent 35 mil. It's not as if though you bought him. Let's just use him because he's obviously smashed it at pretty much every club he's played at. Every club he's played at in Cavani.
Yeah.
So we argue the fact that he's not that standard and maybe a player that you probably could have spent 35 mil on.
This was the whole one because Wolves over the last few seasons have really excelled in their expectations. That people they've brought in, they've done really, really well.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Time, they haven't improved their squad for the first time.
Ooh.
I don't think they've improved it with this.
I don't think they've improved it. I don't think they've necessarily made it worse.
No.
I just can't decide whether it's poor or if it's forgettable. Because it could argue the fact it's poor based on the fact that, and again, even Leicester could be considered in this fact, that our Leicester now that we've got to the end, our Leicester had a poor window, if you consider the fact of what Everton's done. I don't know. I'll tell you what, as I've led most of it, I will let you have the deciding factor where you want to put them, Pete, and I'll back it regardless.
For me, I'd stick and forgettable. For the simple reason is, I think the players that they've lost, they would have been. I think they've kind of wanted to go. I guarantee you, people like John. Once you hear Liverpool knocking, Matt Doherty, you hear Spurs knocking. You're gonna want to go, and you've got to try and get someone in that can replace. They've got replacements in.
Yeah.
For me, so they've covered what they needed to cover.
Yeah, and I don't think it's maybe poor. They've not left themselves without a position as such. So that's the way that you can argue that it wasn't a poor window. But I think that's sort of us done, really. So we're sorry, Burnley fans, because I mean there's only like 10 of you in the world, but you've truly screwed yourselves. And I think that might be the difference maker that you could see you go down.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird that we've actually ended up with four big-ish teams that have ended up there. I was expecting us to maybe see more, but I suppose when you're a club towards the bottom, you haven't got that stature to attract big names. And the only reason that maybe Villa have got what they have is because they are Aston Villa. They are, bar however many seasons, 6-7 seasons, they've been in the Prem. They are one of the staples of the Premiership.
And the thing is, I think knowing they stayed up, they could afford to spend that money. That last year they didn't. They were a bit cautious. Mm-hmm. They've gone out to get some money, and they've got some really good bargains in there. But that's what's put it up there straight away.
Yeah, I agree. Out of those five, then, mate, which one would you go for as your champion of the window, if you like?
Paper-wise, on paper,
Chelsea, agreed.
Yeah.
In terms of reality,
what, as in now performing-wise?
Well, what you think he's going to do for the squad? So let's say is Villa's enough to push them to mid-table? Is Chelsea's enough to win in the league? Is Everton's enough for them to get Champions League? Is Man City's enough to win in the league? And is Tottenham's enough for them to challenge for the title? Out of them?
Before this transfer window, before this season started, I would have put Everton mid-table. I've now put Everton. They'll be a team that are pushing in that European spot, pushing up, and I can even possibly see them winning a Carabao Cup, winning a trophy this year, to be honest.
Yeah, and that's the same.
And it hurts me sad.
Yeah.
But the signings they've made, I think they'll be the most improved squad compared to last year for me.
Which is why I think they will win the champions of the window, because the others, Chelsea, Man City, Tottenham, I think it'll push them on a little bit, but
I'm really sorry.
but not, I don't think, a crazy amount. Villa, let's be real, even with their squad that they've got, as high as they can hope, but maybe 11th, 12th.
Yeah. I still think they'll be in the mix, but I think they've got a strong enough squad to beat that.
I think they'll be safe by the time we get to sort of March, April.
I think Tottenham's one. It's Tottenham have done well, and they fixed a really, really bad problem they were going to have.
Well, and also the fact they've pinched well, haven't they, from Man U, and that's to be fair, let's be real, that is the main reason they ended up and smashed it rather than just improved.
Yeah, but I think Everton for me, that squad compared to last year, I literally, like I said, I would have put them a high mid-table. Now they're pushing for Europe. They're in Europe. They'll be a European spot, pushing for a trophy at least.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So that's going to pretty much wrap it up for us there, guys. We will be doing more football things in the future. So if you want to let us know anything you want us to see us do, if you want to see us do tier lists with anything else, football, wrestling, gaming, whatever, then let us know. Leave it in the comments, and we will probably get right on that. So thank you very much for joining us on this one. Thank you for doing this with me, Pete. It's been good fun.
It's been good.
And we will see you in the next one, guys.
See ya.
Cheers. Peace. Nice one, mate.
I can't believe I put them top.